On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Are there any pros of having the beta mentality? Are there any pros of having the beta mentality? Courtney.
They're great friends.
Great friends. Okay. Kay, are there any pros?
Yeah, they can do your hair.
Of having the beta mentality.
Do my bun.
Yes, because everyone can't be an alpha, so somebody gotta be betas and all these other things.
You can you can sleep next to him and don't have to worry about him touching you.
I mean,
if you guys are just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef, Let's Talk. Let's make sure we get these likes up. Make sure you guys share. We still got 2 more topics left, and I don't want nobody to miss the show. Our next topic is the alpha and beta mentality, the pros and cons. The alpha and beta mentality, the pros and cons. I wanted to talk about this. I understand we talk about a lot of alpha male and beta male type topics, but let's talk about the mentality. And I want to actually give some support as to why we feel the way we feel. We're going to talk about the pros of the alpha, the cons of the alpha, and we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the beta. I want to start off by asking you guys, what's wrong with being alpha? I'm going to start with you, Chicago Rilla. What's wrong with being alpha? Like, why do people get irritated at the label of an alpha? What problem would the alpha pose, having that alpha mentality?
I think most people, when I look at, because to me it's different. So when I look at the men who have problems with alphas, most of the time it's personal for them. They may have had a personal interaction with somebody that they identified as alpha, and it didn't end well for them, right? In most cases, they may have been forced to submit to the will of an alpha, and that kind of breeds contempt and jealousy. And then most women,
we've witnessed that happen. Okay, I'm not gonna bring up all things. Water under the bridge. Water under the bridge. We see that happen often.
We just have the conversation. So listen, but then when I see,
let's just have a conversation.
Let's do it.
Let's just have a conversation.
When I hear women talking about they have problems with alpha, it's the same thing. Like, most people who don't understand the concept or the personality or the persona, the character of an alpha man, not male, alpha man, they've had bad experiences with them. And so it's all personal. Because
women or men?
Both.
Nah. Women don't have bad experiences with alphas. Women want alphas. Women pretend to want betas, and that they'll tell you, I want a guy that pays attention to the little things. I want a guy that's up under me, that pays me attention and all of that. What they say they want versus what they go for is a completely different story. We've seen that play out, but go ahead. No.
I'm thinking very specific. I'm thinking about the women that complain about alpha men.
And that's because they fullbacks. Those are the fullbacks, the linemen, the offensive linemen, the women that's built like
relax.
Well, what is the women?
The women that's built like offensive linemen, those are the ones that complain about them because they can't get them. It's the difference.
Well,
what are the complaints, Rilla?
So that's what I was talking about. Not that they've been with one, but their experience with one is similar. They run because the man chooses, period. The man chooses, right? And so these women who haven't been chosen or who may have been, most of the times is people that are being brutally honest with them and telling them, what they should hear, what they should take as constructive criticism. Most times it just comes out brutally honest. But to me, that's the end of it. Like, they just have bad experiences with them, and that's the problem that they see with them. People who understand what an alpha man is and what he's doing in that moment or period, his long-term goal, whatever it is, whatever they understand about him, they typically don't have problems with him. It is what it is.
Hey, Real, I want to ask you a question. So, do you have kids?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a son?
Yep.
Would you teach him to have the alpha mentality or the beta mentality? I'm not so much into the labels, but unfortunately the labels have been determined. And so we do know what an alpha male is and a beta male is. We do understand what their mentality is. We either have a grasp understanding of it.
Yeah.
Would you raise your son with the alpha mentality?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest with you. It's gonna sound like I'm deflecting, but I'm not. I raised my son with two principles: purpose and leadership. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I have him focus on his purpose. I coach him. I teach him. I instill in him what I observe about him, right? Because I can't live his life for him. So I give him the tools and the resources, and what he decides to do with his life, that's on him. But I teach him to stay focused on his purpose. Be out here chasing girls. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Don't look sideways. Don't look forward. Don't look back. Don't do none of that. Learn from my mistakes. Peep what I'm doing, because he's to the age now where I'm transparent and open with him. So learn from my mistakes. Become a better man, right? And be intentional about what you're doing. My son, I told my sons from a very early age, they can recite for you verbatim what integrity means. I drilled that into them early, right? So they focus on leadership and purpose. I don't really deal. I know alpha beta concept has been around for ages, and it's really just cycled back and become like a real hot topic as of late, right? So that's not something that I focus on with them, because that's, for me, it's not relevant to their lifestyle and what they're gonna do ultimately. But they need.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, Rilla, a follow-up question. So, I respect that. I think that's cool. I think that you somewhat dodged the question a little bit, but I respect your answer.
I know you do.
But when it comes to, because purpose and all of that, that aligns with what you're doing and how successful you are, I think, to a larger extent. That's a reflection of it. Like the money, the success is going to be a reflection of you staying on your purpose. When it comes to them picking a spouse, when it comes to them dealing with women, I think that the question is more relevant when it comes to that. And as a follow-up question for your situation, what would you teach him? Would you just say, hey, you got to live your life or whatever like that? Or are you teaching him to align himself with more principles that come along with being an alpha, or a guy that kind of subjects himself or looks for a partnership, i.e. beta, with a woman?
No. When we have our conversations, and we don't, I'll be honest, like we don't talk much about women. He's interested. I always steer him to stay focused on his purpose right now. This is not the time for girls for him right now. This is not the time to entertain women right now. That'll come. Now, when that time comes for us to have that deep dive, what I will tell him is to look for the woman that aligns with him and that's suited for him and that'll help him achieve his purpose. So I know y'all feel like I'm saying, like I'm dodging the question. I'm really not. I'm just, for what I stand on, what I believe, the alpha beta, that's just become a hot topic as of late. I don't deep dive into that with my son. So when I think about what I've talked about real time with my sons, purpose and leadership, that's it.
So then purpose and leadership, would you place that up under the alpha mentality?
That would be up under there.
Okay.
That would be
alpha. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with preaching that. I think the reason why we describe, beta men as being beta, because we feel that they should be above that. We feel it's okay to have emotion, but have emotion with yourself. Like those emotions don't need to be displayed for everybody to see. Not all the time. I'm not talking about death, but just going tit for tat. Under no circumstance am I about to argue with a woman. If you arguing with a woman, that's a beta mentality. Do you guys agree?
I agree.
What about you, brother?
No, I agree. Mm-hmm.
What about you, Kay? You've been a little quiet over there on this alpha and beta conversation.
I think I have very different views about this alpha beta thing. I think, like Chicago was saying, it's kind of like a hot topic. Hold
on, I'm gonna say something real quick. Let's not focus so much on the label. Focus on the actual mentality. Like if you have kids, if
I
you
don't
have a
have
son,
kids.
I know, but I said
Oh.
if and when, if at all, you have a child, particularly a man, a boy, a young man, what type of mentality would you desire for him?
If I had a boy, if I had a son, I would want for him to be driven. I would want for him to have leadership qualities. I would want for him to be smart. I would want for him to be emotionally intelligent. I mean, I would want for him to be ambitious. Like, there's a ton of qualities I would want my child to have, whether they were a boy or a girl.
Right. And so I want to ask you this. When it comes to men, are you more attracted to a man that's focused on his purpose?
Oh, I thought you were going to say or.
No, go ahead. No.
Oh, I definitely find ambition attractive, and focus is an attractive quality. I always think of it like this with the whole alpha beta thing. Like I said, I think I just have a different view because maybe I don't understand it the way that some people do. But like for people to call people betas as an insult, I don't understand, because without betas, there would be no, like, you need them. I don't know.
For what?
Because betas are the like people who help the alphas carry out their mission. But maybe I'm thinking about it too biologically or anthropologically. Like maybe I'm thinking about it too deep. I don't know. But that's why I said I think I just have a different view. But to your point, I mean, to your question, JR, I definitely find like that ambitious, driven personality type in a man to be attractive for sure. So I get that aspect, but everyone's not an alpha. Like I just see this thrown around so often. Like every man who is on his purpose is just an alpha male, and that's just not true in my opinion. But like
Would
I said,
would you talk to a guy that society identifies as a beta?
This is the thing about that. Like it depends on the situation. Like you don't always have to come across in some very domineering type of way in every situation. Like I like when a man knows how to move within different circles. It just depends. And in terms of what I
don't know what
alpha,
that means, Kay.
Let me explain.
No. Hold on. Before you add the context, would you talk to a guy that society would deem as beta?
Well, my man, society wouldn't deem him as beta.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I mean, you can go ahead and add your context now. I just wanted to know. Yeah. Because like I said, that very much proves my point. What women say they want versus what it is that they align themselves with is two different things. Watch out, gentlemen. Don't let these women fool y'all into the friend zone. Do what you're supposed to do.
I get what you're saying, Anton, and I get where you're going. It's kind of like, of course, I understand what you're saying. Women go after a certain type stereotypically, right? But if we just kind of look at like people that are in relationships, people that are married, everyone that's married is not an alpha man.
I agree.
Everyone that's in a relationship is not an alpha man. So obviously, like there are people who desire all these other types of men.
But they're suffering. Suffering.
Just because you're married doesn't mean it's a good marriage. And to go back to your point,
they suffer.
I
talk to them every day. They say I got guys. So like for example, it'd be guys that
Chicago, I'm about to come to you.
It'd be guys in watching these videos, and I even put them on my Instagram stories. It'd be guys like, I used to hate Anton because he talked a certain type of way, but you know what? When I went and looked in the mirror, I realized that I was a sucker, I was a simp, I was a beta, and now I feel like I need to make some changes because I've been suffering and emasculated and been looked at as weak for so long, for so much of my life, and even in my own marriage, that I need to make a change. These dudes is suffering. They suffering because they've been raised and taught to think like women, and you are not a woman. You are a dude that is supposed to lead your tribe and be on your purpose and not be subjecting yourself to the ideas behind what women think. Do what you supposed to do.
Yeah.
Take them in consideration. Take their advice, but you are the one that make decisions that's best in the interest of your family. I don't know why that's so hard for guys to grasp.
Go ahead, Courtney,
And
then I'm gonna go after you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, even with Kay, when you said every man is not an alpha, which is true. However, it doesn't mean that they should not be striving to be. Just like every woman is not feminine. However, they should be striving to be. There's a core essence of when we think about an alpha, which I am very much attracted to, is leadership, is being assertive on their purpose. That is what men should be. Beta is the complete opposite. They're not assertive. They're not on their purpose. They're emotional. That's why they get friend zoned. They're good buddies. So every man is not, but that doesn't mean that it should be, you should not be striving to be. Men should be leveling up just as women. And that leveled up is, as far as for me as a man, is more alpha attributes. As far as a woman, is more feminine attributes. And they just match. They complement each other. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Chicago Real, I'm gonna get your input on this, but I've had conversations. I don't know if it was with you, Courtney, or Kay about this alpha and beta stuff. I honestly think that this is a conversation that men should be having with men. I think that when women get involved in a conversation, not saying that all women are like this, but like a lot of women hate to hear it. I think we need to champion men on being alphas, on being on their purpose. Not being so emotional. There's a lot of guys that need coaching when it comes to being in these marriages and these relationships on how they should act, how they should coordinate themselves, how to remain in frame at all times. So I'm not so much mad at the women because I don't expect them to really understand like this mentality and, what we're trying to push here. So this conversation needs to be had with more men. We all got to come together. I mean, even if you can just talk to like one or two people, like in a week, in a month, we have to keep preaching this because everybody wasn't raised the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even me, like I was raised like majority by my mother. These are things that I had to adapt. I had to research, understand myself, like understand like communication, understand like relationships, understand how men and women are wired. A lot of people don't understand that. We don't have to label them, and women hate to hear it. But deep down, these women desire that alpha mentality.
Well, JR, do you not think it's important that a woman is honest to say, hey, man, you guys, you're simping, you're beta. You think that's what women want because we're telling you. However, the results doesn't show that. Don't you think that should be kind of important in the conversation with letting men know women want man?
Yeah, I think it is important. And those are
really shaking his head no.
No, I don't think it's important at all.
Okay.
Why not?
Please explain.
Yeah, I don't think it's important about what the women are saying, what they want. I mean, because if I think about a couple of shows ago, Court, you were saying like, hell, we don't even understand ourselves, right?
Well, it's different. I said it's emotional. What I'm saying, the core, and I'm talking about women nature.
Well, what I'm saying is the gentleman that is like when you think about the law of attraction, right? You think about The Secret, you think about C-Time, all these different concepts for attracting whatever energy to you. So if you want to attract opposite energy, masculine attracts feminine, right? So the gentleman that is, again, I mean, for me, it's intent, purpose, leadership. In that order, categorize that, it's going to fall under whatever. But the man that's doing what he's supposed to do for himself is going to attract the woman that he is supposed to attract to him. And it doesn't matter what it says that she wants or likes. We just saw that, okay, real time. We just saw that with Kay, where Kay said, hey, this, that, and the third, blase. And then Anton said, well, hey, what type of man are you with, or whatever, however that conversation did. It came back to, well, my man people wouldn't define as an alpha. I mean, wouldn't define as a beta.
That's what I'm saying, though. So, like I said, the previous show, I said women are emotional. No, we go up and down, which we do. However, our nature stays the same. Women might not know, but men have a nature, women have a nature. So I can tell you I want something, but then my nature proves something different. That's why I said, women go up, because we always trying to move from our nature, and that's the problem. We're always trying to go different from what we're naturally built to be. So I think it's important that men know that there's a woman nature. However, you listening and on an emotional roller coaster of a woman, you're not going to go anywhere. But if you understand the nature of a woman, is always going to go for an alpha male. And if once they realize that, then maybe we'll get some of these simps on, because they're simping thinking women want beta because that's what we're telling them, which is absolutely against our nature. Does that making sense? I'm trying. You're on mute.
No, I understand that context.
Okay. But yeah, so that's what I think is important. So women's nature is always going to go alpha.
Why are you looking like that, Chicago?
You don't want to believe me.
What I'm looking like?
You looking like.
You don't want to believe me.
Yeah, but understanding it. Yeah, understanding it and rocking with it is two different things, though. I don't think you subscribe to that idea, which I'm not. I don't think nobody is trying to convince you to. But because even you said something. You said intent. What did you say? Intent something.
Leadership purpose.
Intent, leadership purpose. Like for me, intent don't mean as much as it means to everybody else. The only thing that matters is winning. Like the only thing that matters is the result, is getting to it, what the end goal is. I don't care about participation trophies. I don't care about none of that. And I think that society, to a larger extent, in order to make everybody feel special, has operated in a space to where they feel like intent is valuable. And I don't think intent is valuable. I think the only thing that matters is who finishes the race and who get there and who win. And if you didn't, all my heroes are psychopaths. Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan would make stuff up in his mind in order to continue to push himself to be the greatest person on the court. Like they did whatever it took to win. They didn't care about what other people felt about them. They didn't care about what everybody's intent was, because nobody remembers the person that tried and failed. The only thing that they remember is the person that's actually memorable as a result of becoming a winner. And so for me, I just don't understand why intent, for example, is a valuable thing in people's minds.
Let me clarify, because I know what you're saying, and I agree with you 1,000%. I'm misspeaking when I say intent. I'm talking about intentional. So you're being intentional about what you're doing. You're being disciplined about what you're doing. So I misspoke. Let me be clear. I wasn't saying intent like I have good intentions. I was saying intentional, and I misspoke.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
That actually makes more sense.
Hey, Kay, I know you've been kind of quiet over there. What's your thoughts on this? What's being said?
When I think of alpha and beta, I really think of it from more of a biological standpoint versus personality traits, in terms of access and power within social groups. So, I mean, somebody that someone might not consider an alpha male, but in the human, amongst humans, somebody might not consider an alpha male, maybe they're a billionaire, they're an alpha male now because they have access and control. I mean, it's just, there's dudes that sleep in their mom's basement that get all the women on their block, who dudes look up to and look at a certain, I mean, it just really depends on the social circle. That's why somebody can be like, I'm an alpha male, but if you're walking into the room with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, are you really the alpha there? And I just have a different view of it. That's why I'm just listening.
But see,
what y'all are
that's
saying.
The thing, the dude that's sleeping in his mom's basement and he 30, I don't care what he feel like or how he identifies himself, real dudes that's getting to it don't have any regard for that dude whatsoever, because
I agree. I get that. But I'm saying in terms of what alpha males are, in terms of access within their social groups, in terms of favorable, like being favorable in terms of women wanting them, having access. I just look at it differently.
Well, what are the attributes do you think? Like if we're talking about an alpha male, what are characteristics?
Access to favorable mates.
I don't look at having money as being alpha. Like, I don't think that that's money alone. It's plenty of simps that's got money. It's plenty of simps that got to the bag, or, you know, they were successful. I know a lot of dudes that played video games in their mom basement for so long, and then somehow they became, you know, the ninjas of the world and stuff like that. Like, that don't make you alpha. You know what I'm saying? Just alone having money. A lot of times I think that dudes that are successful are often, that are on their grind, are often rewarded as a result of being on a person, being on a grind. So the money then aligns with who they become as a person. But money alone, a lot of times, is not the only thing that would make you an alpha. And just as much as being able to bag chicks, that alone does not determine whether or not you're alpha.
I agree.
And I think that's the misconception.
I agree with that. I think that I guess, like I keep saying, I just look at it differently, because if, let's say you, Anton, right? If we drop you off in some, like, amongst some tribe somewhere, you're not going to be the alpha male there. Like,
yes, I will. I will. Eventually I will. I bet I will.
Kate, you don't think that alpha males can coexist?
I'd adapt. And I'd win. That's not in every way. In that culture, I would win. Yes, I guarantee it.
So you're saying that if you've never lived off the grid, you would know better than the people who already lived there how to survive. And you think the women would be like, oh yes, Anton, versus the people who have been leading them the whole time?
I think that it's in my nature to adapt and win in any environment. The initial dropping off point is obviously you're at a disadvantage, but ultimately I am going to win. I am going to win in any environment, in any space, and I am going to adapt to be the greatest dude in that. And I'm telling you, that's just my nature. Like, I'm going to win at everything. It don't matter how far behind I am. I'm going to chase you down, and I'm going to be on your heels, and I'm a not sleep until I become better than you at what it is that you're great at. I am going to chase you down. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing, because you can't fight with a dude that's willing to die for whatever it is that he's trying to do. I'm willing to die to beat you. I will go to the death until you die in order to win. How you gonna compete? You can't fight a war with a terrorist. I'm a terrorist when it comes to this game. Man, I'm telling you, bro. I don't play no games, bro.
I was just gonna say, you know, what he's speaking, it's not cap. It's that competitive nature, like, you know, the same as we were talking about Jordan earlier. I mean, you watched The Last Dance, and it was like he made up scenarios in his head where somebody was trash talking. Cat ain't said one word to him. You know, he just said something in an interview or something, and all of a sudden, it's that desire and that competitive nature in men to figure it out, be the best, and come out on top. And it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, that's why when you look at Jordan, he went into other different ventures and venues to become the best. And the reality
listen, this is what it comes down to. I have never lost and not came back and won in no aspect of my life. In my mind, I was going to be the greatest person that ever graduated in my high school, not only my class, but in my high school's history. Then I was going to be the best dude that ever came out of the college that I went to. If I played ball, I was going to get pissed off. If I lost, I'm going back in the gym and I'm shooting 1,000 jumpers every single day. I'm not sleeping. I'm dribbling the ball from 8 Mile to 7 Mile and 7 Mile back to 8 Mile blindfolded. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So when I see you again, I'm going to win. Like it's happened like that in my career. It's happened like that in a lot of my businesses. It's happened like that in my corporate career, climbing all the way up to vice president. Like I am going to win, and it's going to be the same thing for this YouTube, this Lapeef channel, my channels. These, I'm just telling you, I'm not sleeping. I'm up till 4 a.m. every day because anything that I decide that I'm going to get into, I'm going to sleep the minimum amount possible in order to chase you down and win. If you get the best of me in the debate, understand I'm coming back for you. I am coming back for you. That's just the way it is, bro.
See, you know what? Like I said, I don't think of it the same way y'all do. I think I look at it much differently, and I can admit that. I don't think necessarily that like tenacity or perseverance or drive or ambition necessarily, and I'm not saying you, Anton, I'm just saying in general, I don't think that necessarily means you're the alpha of a group. Like, I get the mentality. I understand that, like, what y'all are saying. Alpha men do this, alpha men do that. I get it. I agree. But in terms of a group, you don't get to set that. The group gets to set that. If there is not to get all like national.
Yeah, but when I walk in the room, people be quiet. They like the group already understands who I am.
Understandable, and I'm sure that that's the case in terms of a lot of groups. But you haven't been in. There is no universal alpha man. Like if you walk into the White House, they're not going to think like, "Oh, Anton's here." Like they're not going to do that. It just depends.
I don't know why not.
I don't know. You never heard of having a presence? There is such a thing as having a presence. When someone walks in a room, you can honestly scan a room and see, oh, okay, it's something different about this person. It's a presence.
I understand that, but I get it. I get it. I get what you're saying, that je ne sais quoi, like you just walk in and people are like, oh, look at him or her. I get that. I'm just saying though, like you can't say, oh, there's a universal alpha male if he hasn't been in all situations and been the alpha.
But like, here's the thing though, like there can be more than one alpha male in the room at the same time.
They can coexist.
And a lot of times, like even if you look at a lot of these circles, like the people that I call friends, they all have the same type of mentality. Like we going for it. We gonna get it. We gonna chase it. And you know, we do still compete when we go into certain things that we do together or whatever like that. Like it is very much I want to beat you. Even if you look on the court, I considered Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, all of these, Kobe Bryant, like they was all on the court together and they all considered themselves friends, but at the same time, they wanted to beat each other. Mm-hmm. So I think that you can have more than one at the same time, but we also just have to understand that it's just a mentality that a man has to have when he moves in his purpose, and he's not subjecting himself to the idea of what women think, but how men are supposed to move in order to be successful.
See, and this is where I see it differently. And, you know, I'm sure we're going to talk about this later and more deeply, but like, if we're saying alpha is a mentality, no, it's not. Alphas are chosen. The group decides, like, we are going to let this person lead us. And the alpha male, let's say it's a silverback gorilla. Now I'm getting all like into animals, but whatever. They don't say every gorilla can't be like, I'm the alpha. Like they can't.
You know, but it starts with self.
Hold on, JR.
But it starts with self, though.
Hold on, JR.
Yeah, it does.
So let's use the animal example, right? How do they determine who's the leader? Even in the animal kingdom. Exactly my point. So it's not that they choose, is that the winner wins, and then everybody else subjects themselves to them. It's nobody chooses anybody. Everybody follows who it is that they know is the best person. That's all it comes down to.
And you know, Anton, you know I rock with you, but it is not a mentality. It's not a mentality. It just is. If you're the alpha, you're the alpha in that social circle. You can't take any person and be like, here, go out there, go get them, Tiger, and they're gonna be the alpha. Like that's just not how it works. There is hierarchy within social groups. And no matter how hard some people try, they're never going to be the alpha male within those groups.
I don't know. I don't believe that.
I'm not saying that alphas can't coexist. I'm not saying that there can never be.
That's what it sounds like when you make the comparison to gorillas, and it's like, who's the top? You know, you're comparing it to animals, but you're not saying that multiple alphas can exist and multiple alpha men. Well, when you compare it to who's the top dog, when we're talking about humans and being around, when we're talking about humans and we're talking about men and men being in social circles, they can be multiple alphas that exist and they will know each other. Real recognize real. So it's multiple alpha men that can be and coexist around each other. Your example was there was just one, they fight to the death and it's just one and you pick them. And I disagree. I know you didn't say that, but your example.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Well, your example was it not the gorilla and just one?
I said every gorilla is not an alpha male.
Right. Okay. Well, your example was as if it was just one. And I think me and Anton made it, not agreeing with him, is that they can coexist. They can be multiple alphas that can coexist and they know each other. Even if you would throw an alpha male in a situation, one would know, oh, I know he ain't from here, but it's something different about him. It's something about him. Oh, he looked like he could maybe help and lead amongst the group. So.
And don't leave your chick by herself around me.
Well, I didn't say that.
At Chicago Gorilla, like
I'm in my feminine energy right now. I got on my pink shirt. I got on my blue wristband. Don't drop me off in your pack of women.
At Chicago Gorilla, I want you to take us home with this one. I want you to kind of just address what you've been hearing, if you agree or disagree, or your thoughts, and then close us on out on this topic.
Man, on this one, listen, I think that we're all human beings being fully human. And it's a lot of conversation. I know this is a hot buzzword right now. I know it's the topic of discussion about alpha, beta, this, that, and the third, man. What I would say to the gentleman, fam, focus on your purpose, fam. Focus on your purpose. Why are you here? What are you doing? Right? And then, listen, if you're a leader, right? If you're leading, you know, by pure definition, that falls under the alpha trait. And so I think there are, I don't know, man. I just, you know, that especially in our, just to keep it 1,000, in our Facebook group, like this whole conversation, and even on these YouTube comments, all this stuff with this alpha beta, I mean, you know, makes no never mind to me. Honestly, the labels don't hurt me because there's nothing that anybody could label one way or the other that's gonna take me off of what I'm doing and what I'm here for, right? So I say that to the gentleman too, man. Like, if you're leading, if you're in your purpose, right, and if you're intentional, disciplined, that's what you focus on. That's what you focus on. And you don't look to the left, you don't look to the right, you stay the course. That's it, period.
I meant to ask you guys, I want to ask the ladies this, and then we're going to close this on out. The second part of the question was the cons. Are there any pros of having the beta mentality? Are there any pros of having the beta mentality? Courtney.
They're great friends.
Great friends. Okay. Kay, are there any pros?
Yeah, they can do your hair
of having the beta mentality.
Do my bond.
Yes, because everyone can't be an alpha, so somebody gotta be betas and all these other things.
You can
you can always try.
You can sleep next to him and don't have to worry about him touching you.
I mean,
we could cry at movies. We could watch Love Jones. I like it.
God.